Wanted to touch on Jaylen Brown getting passed over for Derrick White for Team USA as Kawhi Leonard is dealing with injuries to his knee, needs to get healthy for the upcoming NBA season. He is out. Derrick White is in. No Jaylen Brown.
I would add, it's not just Derrick White.
Mm-hmm.
He got passed over by 3 teammates.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jason Tatum is a first-team All-NBA guy.
Yep.
And until this year, everybody would say Jason Tatum was a better player than Jaylen Brown, although it was close. Now, more and more people are saying maybe Jaylen Brown's better. Jaylen Brown won the MVP in the Eastern Conference Finals, which I believe was the Larry Bird Award, and then he won MVP in the NBA Finals. Champion. Jason Tatum, understandable. But Drew Holiday and Derrick White selected above him? That is very surprising to me, especially when you're looking for a wing/guard. Now, if you were going to just argue you wanted a defender, I believe it was Jaylen Brown who was on Luka, and even in the end in Game 5 when it was over, and he said if Luka's on the court, he told the coach, I want to be on the court. Derrick White is a good defender, so he's known for being a good defender. Drew Holiday is a good defender. But Jaylen Brown is too. Like, he's the better player.
He's the better player, but there's a story behind this. All right. The main sponsor of Team USA is what?
Nike.
When Kyrie Irving Nike terminated Kyrie's contract after he posted some anti-Semitic film tweet. Phil Knight came out and said, we can't be a part of that, and he cut the contract. Jaylen Brown criticized Nike after that happened. Okay? I think that's now, even though Grant Hill, who's running Team USA, didn't specify why they didn't take Jaylen Brown, I think that's the reason that Team USA did not select Jaylen Brown.
Well, it's a terrible reason.
Well,
let me ask you about this. I don't know. Of the 12 guys, how many of them are Nike players? They can't all be Nike players, are they?
I'm guessing a big chunk of them are.
But their uniforms have the Nike logo on.
Right.
They're a Nike-sponsored team. And I think that's one of the main reasons why he's not been selected.
And I know that Jaylen Brown tweeted Nike,
yeah.
So he does think that's part of it. But I'm just wondering if all 12 guys are Nike players.
I don't know if Tatum is. I think Tatum might be an Adidas guy.
No.
They're not.
Embiid isn't.
But that's not the point. Nike
Steph Curry's an Under Armour guy.
Nike is the main sponsor of Team USA, and I'm guessing that has something to do with Team USA not selecting Jaylen Brown because he criticized Nike. I think his quote was, "When did Nike start caring about ethics?" I think he said that, and that probably pissed off Phil Knight. So maybe Phil Knight went to Team USA and said, well, "I don't want him." I have no idea.
It's terrible.
That's out there.
I feel bad for Jaylen Brown. I wonder if it's going to cause. I doubt it, but I wonder if it would cause friction on the team next year, on the Celtics.
No, I don't think so. I mean, he'll get over it.
I would guess it smooths over amongst teammates. I would assume.
I mean, Derrick White's become an okay player, but for him to be on the Olympic team. Well, above the guy that won MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals the NBA Finals?
It has nothing to do with Derrick White being better than Jaylen Brown. It's because of what Jaylen Brown criticized Nike for. That's what I think. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I mean, it probably played
But what's the argument Grant Hill makes? I guess the argument would be that he's a lower usage player and can kind of just blend in, and you don't need all these guys who can just score.
Maybe. I don't know. Drabby, did he give his rationale for why they picked Derrick White over anybody else?
This is from Ben Golliver. USA Basketball's Grant Hill on Jaylen Brown's posts apparently suggesting Nike was behind his Olympic snub. Quote, this is from Grant Hill. For a good portion of my career, I wore Fila. That was supposed to be a joke. We're proud of our partners, obviously. This is about putting together a team. So they feel like he blends in better. He's trying to minimize it if that was some sort of factor in the decision.
Look, the hard part is there's so many good players that could be part of Team USA.
Well, he should be
that aren't part. Like you mentioned Kyrie Irving. He's not on the team.
Well,
Paul George is an excellent player. He's not on the team.
There's no way Kyrie was going to be on the team after what happened with Nike. They were going to select him.
Yeah, I would assume like he was one of their biggest endorsers.
Yes, he had a huge contract with them.
Right.
I also read that didn't Jaylen Brown? He was wearing Nike. He doesn't have a contract right now with a shoe company. I don't believe.
I'd have to look it up.
I think he used to be.
He used to be a Nike guy.
He used to be a Nike guy, but then then his contract ended.
Right.
And I believe he was wearing Nike. He's wearing Kobe's shoes, but
he was trying to obscure the swoosh.
Yes, he was taking the swoosh off.
Right.
Yeah.
Where he's minimizing the swoosh and the logo on his shoes.
Yeah. So that could be the main reason why he was not selected.
I mean, I'm just looking at the leading scorers in the playoffs. Jalen Brunson was number 2. He's not on the Olympic team now. I think he's coming off an injury. Damian Lillard not on the team. Donovan Mitchell not on the team. Some of these guys are coming off injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned Paul George. There's so many good players. Like, I don't know that Jaylen Brown was next man up. The only thing I'll say about Jaylen Brown is he's got a couple of teammates who he's definitely better than, and maybe a third one who he's better than, depending on if you like Jaylen Brown over Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
And he's not chosen. He's the odd man out.
Yeah.
Like the other guy would be
probably,
Porzingis and Horford. Like they're not going to be on the American Olympic team.
I mean, based on talent, yes, he should be out there. But and maybe you're right. Maybe it's just about fit. I think he fits with all those other guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the Nike tweet was probably the one thing that was the downfall.
It was the deciding factor.
I think
whether anybody wants to admit to it or not.
I think it was his downfall. I really
Right.
do. Because I think he's one of the best 12 players, and he should be there.
All right, let's
certainly over Derrick White.
Let's go to the phones on an open line. Thursday, 800-636-1067. Logan is calling in from Blacksburg, wants to weigh in on the topic. What's up, Logan? Good morning.
What's up? How's it going?
Hey, you're on the air.
What's going on? What's going on in Blacksburg in July? Probably not much.
Not much. Everybody's gone.
Yep.
So,
Are you a student down there?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, okay. All right. What's up, bro?
Not much. I just wanted to say that I think that the Jaylen Brown decision has nothing to do with Nike and nothing to do with any dilemmas politically. I think it's more of a fit thing, you know? Like Derrick White is that glue piece that basketball teams need to thrive. If you look at Team USA, they have 10 future Hall of Famers who are all heavily ball dominant. And I don't think they need another one of them.
Right, which is why I brought up the usage deal. He's more of a glue player. He can play defense. But Jaylen Brown played pretty good defense in the NBA Finals against Luka Doncic.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I would think just based on talent, you'd have to put a guy like Jaylen Brown on the team, especially since all these other teams now are loaded with NBA players. So, I mean, we talked about the Canadian roster. I mean, they had some pretty good NBA players. So I think you need the most talent. I don't know if it's about fit as much as some people think.
Yeah, but kind of my point is, all right, if you took Derrick White off the roster and you just had a straight-up competition, is Jaylen Brown more deserving than De'Aaron Fox, than Tyrese Maxey? There's a lot of good players out there.
There are. I'm not saying
Jaylen Brown didn't make, and he was upset about it, but he didn't even make All-NBA. So top 15 players. Now, that includes international players. But there are a lot of good players. DeMar DeRozan has similar numbers to Jaylen Brown. Now, Jaylen Brown champion, but DeMar DeRozan has similar numbers across the board as Jaylen Brown.
Look, I know you need guys at different positions. I know you need some forwards out there, some physical guys. You need centers. All right, you need depth at those positions. But, and I'm not saying it's the only reason he wasn't selected. I think it was a factor. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying that talent-wise, he's certainly more talented than some of the guys that are on the roster. And in the Olympics, I think you want to have the most talented roster, and Jaylen Brown should be on it.
Now, they handled Canada, and Canada could be their biggest challenge. Mm-hmm. What do you think's the likelihood that they win the gold? 95%?
Maybe
higher than that?
90%.
No, I don't.
90%?
Yeah, probably. I haven't looked
I
at
mean,
the
they
odds.
could be upset if they have a one bad shooting night, or somebody just puts 40 on them and they can't stop them. I mean, they could lose to Serbia. I mean, it'd be unlikely, but it could happen.
Oh, I think France has a pretty nasty team. France has Wemby. They have Koulibaly.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Evan Fournier. They've got Nicolas Batum.
Is Gobert not playing for France?
I think they've got Gobert as well.
I mean, he is French. I would think he'd be playing.
I mean, the U.S. is obviously the favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know what the odds say, but it would be a pretty big upset if they did not win the gold.
Right.
Even though a lot of these other teams have legit NBA stars.
It's
an international game, obviously.
It's an open line Thursday. Edwin has been holding for about an hour and a half to talk about Novak Djokovic. So let's go to Edwin in Silver Spring. Good morning, Edwin. You're on.
How you guys doing?
What's up?
I was just thinking, you talked about the thing with Djokovic the other couple of days ago with the fans at Wimbledon, after the game, and he was the match, and he was taunting them because they were saying he thought he was being booed and all that stuff,
Yeah.
when he played Runa. And I think he's just such a whiner. I mean, this is why he doesn't he's insecure about how much love or respect he gets. And his fans especially, they're always so tick that fans in general love Nadal and Federer more, even though Djokovic has more slams than them now, and just because he's been beaten up on, the lesser players after both of them, passed their prime. But he's always been a me first person. That's why he doesn't get respect, and he's always a whiner, basically.
Were you a Nadal guy at the peak of Federer, Nadal, Joker, all chasing the Grand Slam record? Who were you pulling for?
Nadal, definitely. And when Nadal and Federer were at their peaks, Djokovic was really far behind them. He really started winning a bunch of slams after both of them kind of faded off. And he's been beating up on these the lesser guys or the younger guys for the most part. If you look at when he's won a lot of his slams, while Nadal on his side was winning a lot of his slams, while Federer and Djokovic were at their primes. I mean, Nadal's won most of his finals against either of them or beaten either of them in the semifinals, So you could judge it based on how you want to. Everybody has their own, standards, but I think Djokovic, a lot of people, his character just turns people off a lot,
You might be right.
Thanks, Edwin.
I just think.
Good night.
But I still think he's must watch.
Makes me laugh. I'm sorry.
I still think he's must watch.
I know he's a diva and he's taunting the crowd, but that bit that he did post match, I thought was pretty funny. I don't read too much into it.
It is pretty funny.
He's just kind of he's poking the bear a little bit.
But if you're
messing with the crowd.
anti-Joker, you're going to feel that way.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, Joker was winning slams clearly when Nadal and Federer were in their prime.
Right.
I mean, yeah, he's won 3 or 4 in the last couple of years when those guys have been broken down and now retired. But I just think he's must watch, and he's back in the semis.
Yeah.
Well, John McEnroe defended him, came out and said basically he's Darth Vader because he had these two class acts in Federer and Nadal who everybody loved, right? And so then here comes this newer guy because he was younger than them, winning all the time, and he has been mistreated by the fans, and he has never gotten the credit that he deserves.
Right.
He is a little bit of a jerk, or
He's
just kind
brash
he
and
can be a
prickly.
little off-putting at times, but
He is.
But the fans are rude to him all the time,
Yeah.
and so good for good.
But I think that's good for tennis.
Novak to push back.
I think it's good for tennis.
And
though.
it was all-time great audio quote.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Is he a little Lendl-ish? Maybe it's
No, he has way more personality than Lendl. Lendl was just
Lendl's
a robot.
robot. Never said anything to anybody.
Oh,
He's way more.
Novak's kind of a goofball.
Yeah.
I was going to say it also might just be cultural where he's from versus
be.
the other guys.
Possible.
Although Federer's from what, Switzerland?
Switzerland, yeah. He's Mr. Neutrality.
Yeah.
Roger Federer, super boring.